Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome back to the NOFO Live Show, where I, Sunitha, along with my co-host Tracy, we hop on every Friday and talk about everything North Fork. Today we are featuring a winemaker on the North Fork, Alie Shaper, and she is the owner and winemaker at Chronicle Wines, but she has several different brands, so we can't wait to chat with her about obviously what is her passion, because she makes so many different wines on the North Fork. But first, the weather report. It's cold, but the sun is out for a change. It has been very gray for the last few days, so I am work appointment that she had to make, so she won't be on, but we have a special treat because our old co-host, and I don't mean old and old, Kelly will be on.
Good morning.
How
How are
are you?
you? A long time no see.
I know, I'm so excited to have Alie on, but I think I might be equally excited to have you on.
I am too. I feel like it's been so long. Oh, sorry. I didn't even tidy up behind me. I got like kids' paperwork and
You know what's so
junk
weird?
everywhere.
What's so weird? As I was going live, I was thinking, I'm like not bored, but I feel like I need a change in the backdrop behind me. I'm like, I see the same thing all the time. So it's
I'm
funny that
surprised you didn't put up some Christmas or some
I
festive
getting
decor
there,
back there.
not there yet. I mean, I got the tree, but we haven't decorated yet. So getting there.
Uh-huh.
How are you? What's been
I'm
going on?
good. I am good.
You're right.
You
You
know,
seem like you're in the holiday spirit. You're trying everything holiday.
I mean, I feel like this time is fleeting. If you don't get into the holiday spirit now, it
Yep.
ends so quick. I feel like now more than ever, it's like, what? I blink and the holidays are over.
This December's ticking away. Good morning, Alie. How
Good morning,
are you?
Allie.
Good
How are
morning,
you?
ladies. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you. I don't know if
You
you heard at the
too.
top of the show, I was saying Tracy had to hop into the city real quick.
Oh,
So
yep.
Kelly's sitting in for her today. So
Awesome.
extra treat.
Yeah, super. Good.
Okay,
Good to see your faces.
let's dive into it. I know you've
Yeah,
been on the show before
yeah.
for a Long Island wine country, but let's talk about you. For those of our viewers who don't know who you are, tell us who you are and what you do.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm a winemaker, um, and I'm one of the co-owners of Chronicle Wines. And I've been lurking around the North Fork for the last 17 plus years. And I originally started the company as Brooklyn Enology when I was still living in Brooklyn, but doing all the production here on the North Fork. And I started the company in 2006 using all New York grown fruit, primarily from the North Fork, but a bit from the Finger Lakes. And had a tasting room in the Williamsburg neighborhood in Brooklyn from 2010 through 2016. And my now business partner, Robin McCarthy, who's winemaker for Saltbird Cellars, she and I joined forces in 2014, and we've been co-producing under our company license together since then. And in 2017, we reopened the tasting room out here in the North Fork. First started as Peconic Cellar Door, but we kept growing different brands, and soon we had a little mini portfolio of 5 different brands. So we changed the umbrella name to Chronicle Wines. So that's where the company stands now.
So what drew you to winemaking originally?
Great question. Yeah, because a lot of people say or ask, is it something influenced from the family? And not at all. I come from a line of engineers. My father was an engineer. My grandfather was. My uncle is. My cousin is. So it was like.
So you were rebelling. You were basically rebelling.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You're like, but I like wine, so let's do that.
Yeah.
Well, but liking wine and making wine are two totally different things.
They are. They are really different things. Yeah. But I've always been a very creative person. I've always been involved in music or performance of some kind. And like, I was that kid. My mother's nickname for me was Busy Wizzy. Like, I was that kid that I was always like making something and creating something. And
that sounds like a little bit of an engineer to me.
But it is, like creativity is one thing, but then we need tools in order to make these things happen. So they are actually very much interrelated, engineering and creativity, because you start with the idea and then making it happen, you need all those, ways of doing things in between. So on one hand, the sort of caricature of an engineer is, nerdy and on the calculator all the time, but it really is an enterprise of creativity. So it was just something that,
And I think that people also think that winemaking is this like very glamorous,
yeah,
beautiful, French kind of like
yeah,
blasé lifestyle. But winemaking as well is very like numbers oriented, and there's true science behind it.
yeah.
So to be stereotypical as well with the winemaking, you could say people
That's
have this
exactly it.
view.
That's exactly it, Kelly. It's there, and there is that beautiful fun side, and you're working in the vineyards on a beautiful sunny day, and you're blending, but at the end of the day, that's about 15% of the work that has to be done.
Mhm.
And you have to have an amount of knowledge in chemistry and microchemistry, and have a good understanding of cause and effect. And my background as an engineer is in manufacturing, which sounds kind of ugly, but that's essentially what winemaking is. It's one form of manufacturing. We're making a beverage, and understanding your cause and effect, and when you have to pull in different supplies, and thinking about costs, and all of those other businessy things. It's
Mhm.
like you're engineering a product to drink.
So now, Allie, you and Robin seem like you have a very good synergy together. What would you
Yeah,
say your strengths are versus her strengths when it
yeah.
comes to the business?
I've always nicknamed Robin the mayoress of the North Fork. She's been here since she was 2 years old, and she knows everybody. And she'll always be like, "Oh, do you know so and so who did this and that?" And I'm like, "No." You know? So she's an incredible idea person, and she's incredible at coming up with marketing ideas, and networking and connecting dots. And my strength, like, I'm a bit more introverted, and my strength is, and because of my engineering background, is like working the gears in the background, and like, the big joke is, I'm IT department, even though I'm not trained at all in IT. I've got spreadsheets that are redonkulous, but that's like, that's those are two very different parts. Something's got to make the gears grind in the background, and something's got to make it, move in the foreground. So it's like a restaurant. She's front of house, I'm back of house.
That's what I was going to say. She's probably tasting room. You're in the cellar most of the time.
Well, we are both in the cellar and both a lot in the tasting room. Yeah. But, as far as like, what are the programs that we're putting together? Like, she's very talented at that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love the events that you guys put on
Oh,
at
thanks.
Peconic. I feel like you have a great array of events. I always look forward to seeing what's going on there.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
thank
the
you.
events girl.
I'm laughing because Robin is commenting.
Yes.
Obviously, you're watching the show. Hello,
Yeah.
Robin.
I'm seeing the same thing. Yeah. I'm like,
She
yes.
said, I very, very strongly, as if it were a dislike, all
Yeah.
three words together. I very strongly dislike paperwork. But
Yeah.
how wonderful to have a partnership, because, so many of us on the North Fork are small business owners,
Yeah.
and there's so many different hats to wear. So how amazing that you two found partnership in where you can split some of the workload and it can all get done. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's kind of challenging to run a business when a few parts are not plugged in well.
Yeah, and it's a matter too of, even between her and I, like, we can't cover all the hats, and it's all about finding people who have strengths that you don't have, so that they can do a better job of it than you would yourself. So if we have a
Absolutely.
marketing manager and she does all of our social media, and, sure, Robin and I could hack away at it, but, somebody else who can do it in their sleep, and that's what they do, that is their core, so that type of thing.
Everybody needs a Kelly in their corner.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good hashtag, Kelly in your corner. Yeah.
I just start using that one.
Yeah. She thinks you take that and run.
So,
Yeah.
so question, like Kelly said, I mean, when we're sipping the wine in the tasting room, we're just picturing this French countryside or the North Fork countryside where grapes are being picked and suddenly the wine is in the bottle, right?
Yeah.
Is it an all year long activity for you? Are there different tasks at different time of the year? Like, are you busy all year? Is there a downtime for you?
Yeah. Everyone's like, "Oh, when do you go on vacation?" I'm like, "What's that?"
You're like, the grapes need graping.
Yeah, the grape seed graping. Yeah, exactly. Well, there's our type of business it's really like multiple businesses in one, and Robin actually pointed this out at one day, and I was like, yeah, it's not just production of the wine, we run a hospitality business with the tasting room. we run a sales business because we have to work with restaurants and shops and, you know, and hotels or wherever else that we sell. So we are a wholesale sales business. We're also an e-commerce business because we have to sell online. You know, so we really have like 4 or 5 businesses going on in one, you know, and we're also a marketing agency if you really think about it.
Well, you're also agriculture because you're growing
Yeah,
some grapes.
right.
Right?
Yeah. You know, that's actually the one piece that we outsource because
Oh,
we don't hold our own land. And so we contract with local growers, you know, but we have to have an amount of knowledge to know what we're looking at and who we're talking to as far as, you know, what the, can you hear that? Sorry, my laundry machine is going off.
I was like, is somebody getting a haircut? Like, is
Yeah,
that just a buzz cut in the
it's
background?
like a buzz. I forgot to turn that off. Anyway, joys of working from home. But yeah, you know, so, but, you know, regardless, you know, it's all these different pieces. And so if it's right now, we're at the back end of harvest and things are not in the super urgent phase where you have to be looking at the weather every 30 minutes and thinking about when I'm going to pick. And as soon as you pick, you have to get the ferment started. And then you have to check the ferments a couple times a day. And, you know, it's just you're on 7 days a week for, you know, 7, 8, 9 weeks in a row.
At what point after harvest and that you start the process, do you have either a good or a bad feeling about how the year is going to turn out?
Usually about 4 or 5 weeks in. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, and every year is a different puzzle. What Mother Nature throws at you is different. And, you know, in July, people will be like, so how does the vintage look? And you're like, no idea, because we've got 2, 3 months before the grapes even come off the vine. You know, Mother Nature could throw a hurricane at us or a hailstorm or, you know, 16 days straight of rain. You know, you just don't know until the fruit is off the vine and you've got something bubbling away.
But even when it's off the vine, right? There's so many variables of depending on
Sure.
when you picked it and then how quickly or whatever the process is,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, you know, and I call myself like I'm basically a yeast shepherd. You know, you've got billions of
Very
little,
glamorous, very, very
very
glamorous
glamorous,
sounding
very
job.
glamorous. Yeah, yeah. It's like herding like 4 billion cats, you know, and you have zero control over any of them, you know. But you know, it's the decisions that you make around influencing what your yeast do and what your you know, what the other microbes do. You know, controlling. Control is a very loose term in winemaking. You know, it's using the factors that are given to you, and what Mother Nature gives to you. You know, and
Okay,
it's the
and no
decisions
pun
that you make.
intended, but do you go with your gut or do you go with science?
Both, both, and that's the beauty of doing this work because it is analytical, but also very instinctive. You know, it's you know, you need to be proactive about what you're doing and think carefully and you know, and precisely about step 1, step 2, step 3 that you're doing and when you implement those steps. But then, you know, there's other times where, you know, you have this feeling right here and you go, I need to do that. Or if you're blending something, you know, you start with sort of half a clue of where you want to end up with your final blend, and you mix different permutations, and then, you know, you might do 2, 3, 4 rounds of that, and then suddenly you smell it in the glass and you go, you know, that's it, you know, and you know that you're done, you know,
So,
and
Alie,
so,
I'm sure we could talk about winemaking all day because the
sure.
process is crazy. But I think that people also want to hear about your wines and which specific ones are like the fan favorites and your
Uh,
favorites, and what should we be putting on our holiday table this
oh,
year?
mm. So, as you guys know, I'm also winemaker at Croteau, and which is all rosé. Yes.
Beautiful bottles to put it in, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's like the whole package. It's beautiful, I mean, because you feast with your eyes first, you know. But I am a huge rosé fan. I always have been since I was of legal age, you know. And you know, it's one of my favorite wines to produce. And it's also, you know, we've unfortunately been marketed to that rosé is only good during the summer of warm weather, and that's totally, you know, it's completely 100%, you know, get money in the pockets quickly as possible. It's the best wine to drink with food because it has the acidity like a white wine, but it's got a little bit more robustness that you might want from a red wine. And there's many, you know, huge spectrum of rosé. There's the super pale, there's the very dark, So there's a lot of choice for pairing. And so I love that for Thanksgiving because it's really great with poultries, but also with roasted veggies and sweet potatoes and things like that. Great for holiday season, especially if you go with a bit of a darker rosé, because it'll go with sort of more your heavier meats or your fuller bodied meals. Cabernet Franc is an excellent classic, and it's one of my personal favorite grapes to work with for red wine, and it's one of the star grapes of the East End of Long Island. And it goes with everything from duck to pork to poultry to drink it with tuna, drink it with swordfish, have, roasted eggplant or something with it. You can get a really super full bodied Cabernet Franc. You can get a lighter body, more crunchy Cabernet.
Is that one you make at Chronicle Wines, or what brand is that one? Because
So,
you have so many brands.
Yeah. We use Cabernet Franc in the Jolie and Jolie sparkling rosés at Croteau. I use it for rosé in my own production as well. And then I use it for red wine production. So we've got a Chronicle Wines label Cabernet Franc that just came out from the 2022 vintage. And then I also use it in one of my blends under my As If Wines line, a red wine called Persistence. So that makes up more than half of that blend. So yeah, it's one of my sweetheart grapes.
I love it. And we can't forget my favorites, the CANettes that I love
The
for
Spritzers,
all
grown-up
the time.
soda. Yeah, it's grown-up soda. I know people
Yes.
come into the tasting room and I'm like, we make all these wonderful wines, but in my refrigerator is CANette at home.
So what is CANette? Tell us what.
Yeah. So it's a line of wine spritzers that Robin and I came up with. We do 100% collaboration on that, and it's all made out of wine that we produce. So it's all locally produced wine. And if you make a wine spritzer at home, it's some ice, half a glass of wine, top it up with some seltzer. But we've done it for you, and we've put them in cans and flavored them. So we've got 6 different flavors. And they're grab and go. And so, it's somewhere between a cocktail in a can and a seltzer. And it's not your Bartles and James seltzer or, spritzers that you remember from the 80s. We like to call them winemaker spritzers. So they're effectively, a dry wine spritzer, but, with plenty of flavor to go with it. They're great for making cocktails as well. So when we do we're hosting the WEB, the Women's Entrepreneurs in Business networking next week, and I'm going to be putting together our pear bourbon smash that'll feature our pear and spice white wine spritzer.
That's one of my favorite ones. I drank that for Thanksgiving last year, and it was fantastic. It's like this little spicy, peary. It's so good.
Yeah, that'll get into trouble quick. Yeah.
I love a canned wine because it's just like pop and go.
Yeah, super easy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's easy to take with you, especially in places where you can't take glass, Right.
The beach.
Yeah. The pool.
Or boat or whatever.
Your living room. Yeah.
I'm definitely a novice wine drinker and only recently discovered that when they talk about notes and hints of citrus or whatever, I guess my brain always assumed that those kind of flavors were added to the wine.
No.
And only recently discovered that nothing is added and it just somehow. So can you explain a little bit about how the notes in wine work?
Yeah. So grapes are one of those unusual fruits, wine grapes in particular, that taste like other fruit. What Americans think of as grape flavor is derived from, of course, a lot of it is artificially produced, but it's derived from the Concord grape. So, you think of grape soda or grape jelly, that's what in our minds we think of as grape flavor. But flavor is so complex, and it's a multitude of molecules, organic molecules that create our sense of taste of something. So it's why does a Granny Smith apple taste different than a Red Delicious apple? They're both apples, but they have different flavor. So grapes have multiple, like any other fruit, have a lot of these organic molecules that create the sense of flavor. And a Cabernet Sauvignon is going to have different characteristics than a Merlot is going to have different characteristics than a Sauvignon Blanc, etc. And so between the characteristics of that type of grape, the influence of the winemaker in the cellar, plus the aging techniques, plus the time of the wine in the bottle, because once you bottle the wine, it doesn't stay the same forever. it's off on its own. It's like sending a child into the world. It's going to do what it's going to do, you know. And it's the mixing and matching and combining and breaking up of these organic molecules. And, there's a whole set of molecules called esters and flavonoids, and all of these things come together to give you the impression of other fruits, the impression of cherries and blueberries and oranges and limes and things like that. So
Okay, you just blew my mind because when you're like in a tasting room, okay, this is gonna sound super dumb. And you're like, I have notes of like cherry, and I'm like, well, did they put a little cherry?
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
I
yeah,
always
and that's
thought
a very
that.
common question, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's
All right.
because
You
all
just
these things
educated me.
yeah.
I know, I was shocked because I thought when you do the yeast process or whatever, like something enhances or brings out, and it's apparently no, nothing.
Yeah, no.
Your mind and taste buds just taste
Yeah,
it.
yeah, they just taste it because it is just there. It's part of the process, and it's part of the
So
grapes that you begin
interesting.
with. Yeah.
So
Wow.
who decides initially what the notes are? Is that the I'm
Yeah.
just saying, does everybody collectively say this is cherries?
Sometimes, and that's another interesting thing. So each person is different in what their thresholds of, their thresholds where they can detect certain flavors. So there's certain characteristics that are common to a particular grape that, many, if you put multiple people in a room and give a glass of the same thing to everyone, a lot of people will come up with cherry, but then some people might taste olive, but other people are not going to pick it up because their thresholds are different. Or somebody's going to taste blackberry,
I
but
guess
other
it
people
just
are,
goes back to people have different like
yeah, yeah,
flavor
people have different
profiles
tastes.
or whatever. Yeah.
There's no one right wine. There's no one wine that's correct. The wine that's correct is the one that you enjoy. End of story. Doesn't
I
matter
love
what
that.
anybody else says. Yeah. So, and we're all about that in our tasting room. And we also invite people to come to the tasting room and ask us all the questions. There are no dumb questions. Like, were you born knowing this stuff? Were you born knowing that 2 + 2 = 4? No, it's something that, that yes, Robin and I have studied, but could you put me in a courtroom to be a lawyer? No. You know what I mean? So it's like we all have our different expertise, and so we really enjoy people coming and asking us these things. We're passionate about it, and at the end of the day, it's just a beverage. It's not it's not something that's going to solve world peace or send man to the moon or anything. It's something that's fun and something that you pick up a few tidbits and get to know a little bit about it. And but meanwhile, you're hanging out and meeting some new people, and because that's what wine is about. It's about being together.
Absolutely.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
yeah, it may not solve world peace, but it definitely brings a lot of people to the table together
Yeah,
to
yeah, it
celebrate,
helps a little bit.
share.
Yeah.
It could
It
be the
gets people
lubricant
talking.
in
Yeah.
making some important decisions. You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I've made some very good important decisions on 1 or 2 glasses of wine. So, yeah.
Well, not to mention there are so many studies that do say there are health benefits to drinking limited amount of wines, right?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, there's something to having a glass of wine at the end of the day. You've been going at it, and, it's not medicine. It's not something with which we can medicate ourselves, but there is something about, bringing your heart rate down and just taking a minute to just be, especially in our busy, busy lives. And yet, that might be a cup of tea. That might be, you know, that might be a cup of coffee, but it's a way to just stop and almost be meditative, and we associate food and wine with being with people. Like probably the whole reason we have social events is we get together to eat and drink, so it's the socialness that comes with it. That's the real panacea. Um, and then other compounds like color compounds and tannins and is particularly in red wine resveratrol. These are actually beneficial antioxidative uh, compounds in wines that are good for you. So yes, in small quantities, yeah, go with it.
Talking about getting together, do you guys have any? I know you have a wreath making
Yeah,
workshop coming up with True
yeah.
Elizabeth. What
Hmm.
other holiday things do you have going on, and
Oh,
or
I know you have
holiday
food with grace and grit, so I want
specials?
to hear about that.
Yes.
yeah. We've been doing some pop-up series with Grace and Grit. So the current series is what I call Chowder Hour. So we've been doing seafood chowders every other Monday. So we've got the last one of that series on December 18th.
Okay.
Yeah, and then December 12th is True Elizabeth wreath making, and Betsy does an amazing class. She's
She
just,
really does.
yeah, not to mention she's crazy talented. You know, it's every
Yes.
time I look at something that she makes, it's like, wow. And then the 13th, we've got the Women's in Business, Entrepreneurs in Business holiday / marketing event. So if you are watching and you're a woman in business, come on down. It's going to be a riot. It's going to be great. We're going to have a raffle. There'll be wine, cocktails. We'll have Alley Cat's Kitchen. Alley Katz is bringing her amazing cookies. And then what else are we doing? I think that's it for the season. Come
I
January,
mean,
February.
technically these are meetings, but I do find that they're more fun
Yeah,
meetings
it's a
than
social
meetings.
hour. Yeah,
I love it. I try not to miss any each month. It's
yeah,
such a great group to have gathered around us.
Robin just
yeah.
said we also have a case sale going on until
Yes,
tomorrow.
I was about to
So
get to
like
that.
if
Yeah,
you need your holiday wine, pick up a case
yeah,
while
yeah.
you're
So we
at
have
it.
so we have an in-store online holiday flash sale going on. So that's a good event. Yeah, so we're doing 30 to 60% off select
Oh
wines,
wow.
cases of wines, and then
Stock up.
probably closer to the last week of the holiday season, we'll have another in-store special or whatnot, or online special as well. So keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is your tasting room open all winter as well?
yeah, we keep debating whether we're going to close for a month or whatnot. So, you know, if we decide to take a break, we'll be posting that on.
Take a little
But
break,
Vodka
hey.
decides to open tomorrow.
Yeah, but you know, presently our hours are Friday to Monday, 12 to 6. And then, you know, sometimes we're just randomly there doing other things. And if you see the open flag out, just come in. Yeah, come in, say hi. What do you got?
So perfectly North Fork. I love
Yeah,
when shop owners will put a sign saying, "Be back 2-ish." It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
open today randomly, close tomorrow
yeah,
randomly.
yeah.
But it works, and
It
it's
does.
fine because I'll go run an errand and come back at 2-ish if I,
Yeah, yeah,
it's perfect. It's perfect.
yeah.
Okay,
It's
we
good.
can't let you go without doing the No for Life 5,
All
assuming
right.
Kelly and we can remember
Yes.
all the
I
questions.
don't remember the questions. Selena, you're gonna have to help me.
Somebody's gonna
Well,
know around here.
maybe Alie remembers the questions.
Well, I remember one of them is sunset or sunrise.
Okay, good. Let's start
Yeah,
there.
yeah, sunset, sunrise, and let's see. I'm a little bit of both. I'm probably more sunset just because I'm a bit more of a night owl,
Okay.
and but sunrise I love, especially this time of year. So I have a little in my house. I have a little what I call the breakfast nook, and it's on the southwest corner of the house, and then one side of it faces east. So in the morning, I love sitting there with my cup of coffee. And I live right on Mud Creek, so the sun comes up and it reflects off the water, and I just sit there like a cat, you know, and I just,
So beautiful. What
yeah,
a great way to start the day. What a great
yeah,
way.
And now you can enjoy a sunset at 4 o'clock.
yeah,
So you can get
awesome.
best of both worlds.
421.
Yeah,
That's really
I can see
tough.
both in the same day.
Okay, if you were going to take Kelly and I to lunch or
Yeah,
dinner,
yeah.
where would we go? And what would we
So
eat?
I practically have a cot set up in Love Lane Kitchen. I'm there 3 days a week for lunch. So you can just pop in and you'll probably find me and join me at the table. That's fine.
Love
Yeah.
it.
So, but it's, you know, I love it there for, you know, not just the food, but for the atmosphere. And not only is Carolyn, the owner, a good friend, but everybody there is just lovely. And that was it saved me during COVID because I was completely living alone during COVID, and you know, just being able to pop in there for an hour and a day and just be with their staff who are just lovely and have always treated me like a queen in there. And then dinner, my favorite thing to do are some of the pop-ups around. So I think Pawpaw pop-up is some
Oh
of the most
yes.
creative food around.
That's one I
Um,
haven't made it to. Every time I see
Oh,
them,
you
Gotta do it.
have
something
to,
either about
Gotta
Selena.
do
rice
it.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I need to go to one.
You
Chef
have
Taylor
to.
he will blow your mind. He will, you'll be
Yes.
like, you put what together?
Yeah.
And
I'm
yeah,
just like, I was just out, foraging in the North Fork,
yeah,
picked up these mushrooms, and now they're on your
yeah,
plate.
yeah, yeah, you know, and just some of the ingredients that he puts together, like you would just, I don't know anybody else who thinks like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty extraordinary. The Grace and Grit pop-up that are done during winter, those are fantastic. And speaking of Alley Cat's Kitchen, so she and her husband, Fritz, they do Thursday night noodles and
Oh,
Saturday night fried chicken.
I knew about the fried chicken. I didn't know
Yeah.
about the noodles.
Yeah, noodles just started up again because they're a good cold weather thing. So it's udon noodles in Fritz's special Asian broth. Oh, it's so
Oh,
good.
yum.
Yeah, and shiitake
It's like
mushrooms.
not only do you enjoy wine, you also enjoy food because
Hell
you have a
yeah.
lot of good
Yeah,
food
yeah,
options.
yeah. Enjoy flavor. You know, you need both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you, and
Wait,
obviously,
Sunita, give me a hint on the next question and then I'll ask.
Um,
Favorite. Well, you can't really
oh,
say favorite
brewery or
vineyard.
winery. Yeah, brewery or winery.
well,
Well,
also
clearly my
maybe
winery
what
is my favorite. Yeah.
Yes.
also maybe what kind of wine do you personally enjoy? Because you make so many different kinds.
Yeah. And you know, it's like asking me which is my favorite kid. I don't know. You know, there's a reason why I make all of the wines that I do, and then but you know, if I'm totally stuck on a desert island, it's going to be some form of rosé and probably with bubbles. You know,
I love it.
so, so you'll find me at Croteau when the apocalypse comes. You know?
Okay. Do
Not a
you
bad
like to
place to camp out.
Yeah, yeah, it's not
do you
terrible.
like to cook, and is there a go-to farm stand that you grab your
Oh,
produce from?
I end up a lot at Bayview Farms. Um, and I stop in a lot at Eight Hands as well. And but I also really like Deep Roots Farms too. So
I want
sometimes
to
it
go
just depends
there. I'm
on
gonna get over there.
The
yeah, yeah,
which one? Deep roots?
Deep roots,
Deep Roots,
yeah.
It's
yeah,
it's so interesting how we all end up at farm stands that are obviously the closest to us, and then
well that
some
yeah,
we kind of make an effort. Like you gotta go. Like every time people talk about Wova, not Wova. What is the one that has like the best tomatoes? I forget now which one it is. Cooper's, I think. But I never go in that direction. And every
yeah.
summer, I think this summer I'm going there.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, there's so many to choose from, you know. It's
yeah.
like if I want cantaloupe, like I'm going to Wowax, you know. It's like
Mm.
there's just certain, you know, and for me, there's certain things like my husband's a terrific chef, and we had stopped into Bayview Market a couple of weeks ago, and he found the little fingerling potatoes, so he's from Australia, and they have a similar potato there, but not the fingerlings, and so he's been obsessed with the fingerlings for the last month. So he keeps going back to Bayview to get the fingerlings. You know, he just went there yesterday because we're
Well,
cooking dinner for some friends. And
Bayview has the best visual appeal. Like you pull
yeah,
up and the colors.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the umbrellas or the coverings.
yeah,
Everything there looks amazing.
it
yeah.
And
really does.
And it's
It
all
so
really
much
does.
perfectly
variety.
stacked on all the carts. You know, it's like yeah,
Yes, so much
hmm
variety.
yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
that's a
I
great.
also think that it's a good location for anybody who, like me, is going back and forth west because it's like right as you're leaving,
yeah,
I will pick up produce for the week for
yeah,
my time here in the
yeah.
west and then, not have to go grocery shopping in the
That's
produce
it.
section because I know I just got locally produced produce from the
Yeah,
north.
And
Yeah.
that actually does last longer in the fridge because I find
Yeah.
that if I don't cook, the grocery store produce in 2 or 3 days, it's wilted and
yeah,
dying. But the farm produce will stay
yeah.
in there
I
a
mean,
lot
it's
more. So.
fresh. It hasn't been in storage for a month before it got to you. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah, yeah.
Ali, we usually wrap up our show by asking why you love being a part of this North Fork
Oh,
community.
it's yeah, so many reasons. It's the perfect blend. You know, when I moved out here, I'd already been producing the wine out here for 8 years already. So I always kind of thought, oh, I'll have my little apartment in the city and I'll have a little cottage out here. And I went through a big life change in 2014. I said, screw it, I'm going to go rent a house for a year. And within 3 months, I was like, nope, this is the space. This is the place. And it's the visual beauty. It's the ability to access nature. Um, it's it's the people. And it's there's such an amazing blend of community of and people doing really interesting things. And what I really appreciate is just the hard work and the creativity, but also the so much of the genuineness of what people are trying to do. It's not about being flash bang around here. It's not about oh, look at me, I'm fabulous and I'm doing all the fabulous things. It's like, no, we're really trying to link together as a community and support one another, and create opportunities. And it's really about the community for me here. It's connected, and I think that's the most important.
So fantastic.
Thanks.
Well said.
So beautifully said. I'm so glad that you chose to make the North Fork your home.
Me
Kelly,
too.
you want to wrap up anything with any weekend plans you want to share that
Oh
either
my
you're
God.
doing?
Yo,
There's so
I
much
have
going
not
on.
even released the weekend plans yet because they're so many things going on.
All the
I know
things.
Southhold is having a
Yes,
shop small stroll tonight, right?
yes. I'm
Yeah,
getting the
yeah.
I'm
Southhold
heading out to see some friends, but that's
stroll.
like, yeah.
There are tons of holiday markets happening, especially tomorrow. So I have a whole section on that.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you're on the North Fork, there is tons to do this weekend.
Yeah. It's like too much to do, you know?
Yes, I thought that my like season would slow down after the summer, but
Yeah.
holiday is like,
No, holidays
woo!
have, yeah, it wasn't that way, 10 years ago, and like it's just gone kaboom.
Yeah,
It's great. It's really great.
Especially in December. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
December's like there, you got things to do, places to go, people to see.
for
And fun
sure.
to and fun to have. So
Yes.
yeah.
So
Oh
much
yeah.
fun to have. So much fun.
If you're not following Kelly already at NOFO Endless Summer, follow her, subscribe to her Instagram account so you can get details on all the weekend plans. She curates the best things to do in the area.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Alie, for
Oh,
joining
thank
us.
you.
I
Thank
really loved hearing
you.
all about your process of winemaking and can't wait to see you next week at the web.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
coming in for some CANette soon.
Oh yeah. I'll hold some in reserve just for you, Kelly.
Thanks.
Have
Make
a
sure
great
you get your fix.
have a
Yes.
great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next
Happy
Friday.
weekend. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Cheers. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Oh, and happy Hanukkah to those who
Oh yes,
celebrate.
happy Hanukkah.
Yes.
Yes.
Happy Hanukkah.
Bye.
Woohoo.